Hello and welcome back to Inside Out. Today I have a very special guest, Meg. Meg's story will stop you in your tracks. A week after getting married, she was in a life-altering accident that led to the loss of her leg. Since then, she's not only become one of Australia's athletes for volleyball, which we were just speaking about prior to this intro. She's training for marathons. Yes, you've just done one, which was phenomenal. And all in all, she's redefining what strength and grit truly looks like. Her journey is one of heartbreak, rebuilding, and radical self-leadership, and it is an absolute honour to have Meg on the podcast today. So thank you, Meg.
What an intro. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm excited to have you here. We met a little while ago in person, which lit my world up. I remember I was just actually talking to one of my other guests about it because I was like saying, oh, Meg's coming in next and who you were. Yeah. And I'd heard your story and I think I followed you prior to knowing, like, and then you came to my event. Yeah. Like, I think we've got each other on social media or however that conversation went. I'm like, I know exactly who you are. Oh my God. I news.com'd your story. Like, I literally clicked buttons. I was like, this chick's fucking insane. I love her. And then I met you and we hung out at the event. Yeah. But yeah, that was really cool.
That was really cool. It was a great event, by the way.
It was. We were just, Jacob and I were just talking about next year, which is so much work to do. I was like, I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, you'd probably start organising it now.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
Lot to. Anyway, enough about me. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being here. I am very excited to dive right in. So take us back to, first of all, let's talk about the high of getting married and what that looked like, and tell me about your wedding, how long you guys have been together, your beautiful partner.
Yeah. Wedding, obviously best day of my life.
Yeah.
Was
stunning.
Absolutely incredible day. Yeah. So my wife and I have been together for about 2.5 years. Got engaged January, got married in October. It was just a beautiful day. It was absolutely perfect.
Like, the photos were insane.
Everything went just exactly as it should. And it was just a beautiful day.
Nice. And you have a little boy?
Yes, got a 3-year-old. At the time when we got married, he was 2-ish, 2.5. And he was there. He walked me down the aisle and he loved his role. He had a little like linen suit on. He looked so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And he just, loved walking me down the aisle.
So freaking cute. Like,
it was cute. He was the center of attention. Had like the dance floor, it was him and then everyone just like around him, and he just was in his element. Just loved it.
Darling. Yeah. So beautiful. I think that what I was just starting to say before we hit record was that as someone that would have been in your life or at your wedding, what you've been through as someone that loves you would have gone through such a big process of emotions, processing that beautiful high of celebration and joy into something that, you know, was so different a week later. So take us through that week and that change that you experienced.
For sure, because a lot of people, the last time they saw me was in my wedding dress, and then the next time they saw me, I had one leg, which is huge, right? Like that doesn't happen very often. Got married literally on Saturday, and then life kind of just went back to normal throughout the week. We had planned our honeymoon. We were meant to be going to Thailand in a couple of weeks. Life just kind of was a bit of a blur that week. We were just kind of enjoying the newlywed Bliss just at home. We both had the week off work and we're just kind of, just had like a bit of a staycation at home, which was actually beautiful. We really enjoyed it. The following Saturday came along. And it was sun was out, weather was beautiful, so we decided to do the lawns, right? We just moved to our property, so we moved out to the Hunter Valley in August of last year, and this was the October, so it was only a couple of months after. So we have a lot more lawn out in the Hunter Valley than we originally did. We had a ride-on lawnmower, which I loved, right? It was so therapeutic being able to jump on the ride-on lawnmower, put your AirPods in, listen to a podcast, do whatever, and just mow the lawns.
My husband says that we've got a property up in Grafton, well, his family does. And he loves going on the ride-on mower.
I loved it. Yeah. Loved mowing lawns. It was great. Obviously now we'll never mow the lawns ever again, but we'll get to that point. It was just another typical Saturday. Everything was exactly as it should have been. And I literally was mowing the lawn and I was doing the last little bit. So mowed all of the inside. Steph was doing like the whippersnippering, all of those little touches.
And did you have your son with you?
I did, yeah. Yeah, so he was in the yard with her. Like his job was like the blower or something like that, like just being chaotic. And then I was just literally doing like the outside skirts of the house, right? And along where we live, there's kind of like quite a significant like embankment. So it's flat, but then it kind of is a bit of a drop off. So literally like I'd done the side and I was just doing the very last stretch at the back. Yeah. And it had rained a couple of days prior and it just kind of all happened quite fast. But basically I was just mowing the lawn and I could feel myself sliding off the lawnmower. So naturally I just felt like I'd put my foot on the grass to kind of stop myself from falling off. And then next thing I know, I looked down and my foot was not in a great way.
So you have complete memory of everything?
Yeah, complete memory of it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So I remember exactly what it looked like. The like most G-rated way that I can explain it is like tin spaghetti. It just looked like tin spaghetti on the floor, which is just crazy. And I just remember like obviously by that point I'd obviously come straight off the lawnmower and I just remember for whatever reason, there's a lot of different opinions about the ride on lawnmowers. Everyone obviously has told me that they're meant to shut off as soon as you get off them. Mine, for whatever reason, didn't do that, which even if it did though, like it still wouldn't have, like even if I came off the seat, the blade still wouldn't have stopped in time for me to get my leg. So either way, that was going to be the outcome. But yeah, I basically looked down, fell to the floor, and I just remember screaming. And it was one of those nightmare sort of screams, you know, like I don't know if you've ever had one of those dreams where you feel like you just can't scream loud enough or like your voice is gone or whatnot. It was a like reality one of those. I felt like I could not physically scream loud enough for anyone to be able to hear me. Soon after I learned that wasn't the case, I was actually screaming incredibly loudly, but it just felt like I just couldn't get my voice out because nobody was around. So we live in like quite a quiet area. So there was absolutely no one around. And then, my wife luckily was in the backyard, but she was doing like the blower and whippersnippering and whatnot, but she had just like stopped doing it. So in between doing it, she heard me screaming. So she came out, left Parker in the backyard, which was all secure and all fine because I was literally just on the back side of the fence. Yeah. So she came out to me and then I could just tell by the look on her face that like she just went into shock, like complete shock. So she came over to me and I just said to her like the very first thing I said to her was I think I'm going to die because it didn't look good.
Got you.
Wow. And then I said, like, I need you just to go back and be with Parker because I couldn't cope if anything also happened to him, like being unsupervised or whatnot. So then she had to leave me just sort of laying there, went in back to him. But at the same time, my neighbours were also coming out. And I remember just looking over to my right and seeing my neighbour, who I'd only met maybe once or twice before. I didn't know my neighbour or any of my neighbours before this. I just see her running towards me before she even knew what had happened. She's literally like stripping her shirt off to use her shirt to wrap a tourniquet around my leg. And it's like she just knew that like that's something had happened and she needed to do that. So she literally was running towards me like in her bra and just like knelt down straight away and was like wrapping it. And she just, before even asking how I am, she just like started doing it and she's looking at me in the eye and she said, "This is going to hurt, okay? But I need to just do it." And I'm like, "Do whatever." Like,
was she a nurse or anything like that?
No.
Wow.
Nope, absolutely not.
I would like to think I would know to do that just from Grey's Anatomy Obsession and McLeod's Daughters' Lives that I watch Being Saved. Like I feel like I could, but I don't know if I physically would have that instinct. What an amazing woman to just...
Oh my God, absolutely incredible. Like don't know if the outcome would have been different. I'm assuming it probably would have been if she hadn't have done that for me.
Okay.
But yeah, like I think the same thing because obviously I know to do that, but obviously I'm the one that was in trauma. So my mind was... I didn't even think it was an option to do it. And Steph was the same. Like she obviously first aid, all of that. But in that moment, it just completely went out of her mind. So thank you to the neighbour across the road. So she's tourniqueted my leg and then by that point, people just kind of were flooding in from left and right. My whole neighbourhood basically was out. And there was 2 other guys that were there. I can't remember anyone's faces. So I don't actually know who was there and who wasn't. And I've met people from like the street and whatnot since, and I don't know if they were at my accident or not. But There was another 2 guys that were there, and like ironically, they both had belts on. And I feel like a lot of people like don't wear belts anymore, but like it was like a 2 o'clock on a Saturday and 2 of these guys had belts on.
Yeah,
so
my
they
husband wears a belt with everything. So
okay, perfect. I couldn't tell the last.
But now that I think about it, do all men wear belts?
Well,
just like
there was like maybe 3 guys there, and 2 out of the 3 at 2 o'clock on a Saturday had belts on. So the odds were high. They both whipped their belts off and also used them as tourniquets on my legs. So the leg was looking good. The blood flow was under control at this point. Luckily, Steph, who's my wife, her mum lives like 400 metres away from our house. So as soon as all of it happened, Steph went back in to Parker, who's my son, and she called her mum straight away and was like, you just need to get here. Like, just get here. So then they were there within a couple of minutes. And Steph's uncle was down visiting her mum at the time, right? And her mum, and her uncle is an ex-police officer. So he got there. They all got there like a couple of minutes later. He just came over to my side. He was the calmest human in the world. He just took control of the entire situation. I remember him just like had his hand on my shoulder and just was like, you're okay. You're okay. You just breathe. You're fine. Everything's going to be okay. And I remember hearing him on the phone to the ambulance, and it felt like the ambulance was taking forever to get there. They were like trying to send, like, so I live in the Hunter Valley, and they were saying the closest one to us was Toronto, which was about half an hour away. And I just remember him being on the phone being like she's not going to make it that long, basically. Like, you need to get someone here now. And then within a couple of minutes, there was police there was ambulance, there was everything. So
did the Westpac chopper come?
Yeah. So there was 2 ambulance that came. They basically like did what they like stabilized my leg, I suppose. Stabilized my leg, gave me some pain medication, thankfully. Then put me in the back of the ambulance, and then the chopper was there. So the chopper couldn't land at my house. It landed literally kind of like at the end of my street. So I got put in the ambulance, and the ambulance took me to the chopper.
Was Steph with you for this whole process from Ambo
She
to
was.
chopper?
Yeah. So as soon as her mum got there, her mum went in to Parker. And then she came back out, and her job in all of this is quite graphic, but she was standing, so I was like obviously on my back. She was holding my foot together. So she was literally like piecing my foot together to kind of hold it. So yeah, that was her job. And she remembers so vividly that obviously she wasn't kind of like trying to look at my foot or anything, because it was just not in a great way. But she remembers that somebody, she doesn't remember who, somebody handed her a bag with one of my toes in it. And she just remembers being like, what am I meant to do with this? Like, it was a Ziploc bag with one of my toes in it. And she was just like, she was just like, I don't know what you expect me to do with this, but thanks. So she was like laid her on the floor and was like just stunned. She's like, I don't know, your toes in a bag there. Like,
and by the time you've had some form of pain relief, you probably, like, I don't know how much they give you or what that state was like, and you probably tell me more.
Yeah.
But I remember we were all in hospital in like the 12-month period, my entire family, kids included, and my husband and I. My husband almost died 12 months ago, maybe a bit longer. And as soon as he had some pain relief, he's like, no, I'm good to go. Like, I'm right. So did you have a similar experience?
Yeah, I did. So like, I didn't really feel pain at all throughout the entire thing. So I was just in complete shock, I think. So throughout, even before the ambulance got there, like, I was quite okay. Like, I knew that things weren't fine, and I felt like lightheaded and whatnot, but I didn't feel any pain.
Okay.
So I was still being like quite funny.
Yeah, I'm just like, where, like, the humour in you, and I've seen so much humour from your social media.
Yep.
And like how we've spoken in the past as well. And I'm like, I can just imagine you like just cracking jokes, being like, just pop it in the handbag, we'll take it up to the hospital.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I was like, I didn't mean to get legless on a Saturday afternoon. Just things like that. Like, I was just like, you know what? My foot's pretty cooked at this point, so what else can I do? Yeah. Then the ambulance came. They gave me, like, I don't even know what they gave me, to be honest, but it was great.
Fentanyl, morphine, green whistle.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, it was, I didn't feel anything, which was good.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And then, so you went with the Westpac to the John?
Yeah, cool. Westpac to the John, then went into surgery that night. So got to the John like in the afternoon. They obviously just did what they needed to do, went into my first surgery that night.
When did you find out that you'd lost it's your left, isn't it?
Yeah, my leg. So it was the next morning.
Okay, so you weren't told for the first surgery. It was still
No. So I had 3 surgeries all up, and my amputation was actually, so I went in on the Saturday. My amputation wasn't until the following Friday. So I was in hospital for a week knowing that I was going to have my leg cut off basically, and just kind of a sitting duck waiting for it to happen. So I had the first surgery the night that I had the accident. And then I just remember sort of waking up the next day, which was Sunday morning at this point, to just a team of doctors in my room. There was like 6 of them or something like that, just being, just saying, look, we've had a look at your foot. The way that it had just, because obviously it was a blade, instead of it just being like a clean cut, it was just all serrated. There was no way that they could have saved it. So, got woken up on Saturday morning basically saying we need to amputate your leg. And then they were quite good about it. They gave me a bit of time to process it. They were like, look, we know this is obviously quite a significant thing. We're not going to take you into surgery now. They said they'd give me about 48 hours to kind of process it, which would have been surgery kind of like on the Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. And I was kind of fine with it. But then for whatever reason, I got pushed back to the Friday. So it was quite a bit of time. By the time the Friday came around, because I had known for quite a while that I was going to have it was going to be amputated. I definitely hadn't come to terms with it, but I think I was kind of like, I knew that it was going to happen. There was no other option. So let's kind of get the show on the road type thing.
Did you feel like the more time that you had in that space, it was like almost capacity for you to run around in circles and overanalyze, or perhaps get a bit more anxious about what life was going to look like rather than just getting in and getting it done?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And the one thing that I was most anxious about was just parenting with one leg. Wasn't sort of anything else. Any other aspect, I was like, you know what, it's going to look a lot different. But I was just like, trying to process parenting with one leg was just the hardest thing, because I knew that not only my life was changed now, but the way that my child and my future kids, the way that their lives sort of are going to unfold will be different now as well, having a mom with one leg. So, yeah, that was the hardest thing for me to kind of process. And so back to the doctors, when they came to tell me my leg was going to be amputated, my wife was in the room with me as well. She was just holding my hand. And honestly, what was probably the worst moment of my life actually turned out to be one of the funniest moments of my life as well. So she was standing right next to me, and they're just like, the serious doctors are like, hey, you know what, like, we've looked at your leg, it kind of needs to be chopped off. And Steph just all of a sudden out of nowhere goes, I don't feel very good. And the doctor goes, you're looking a little bit pale. She goes, yeah, I don't feel very good. And he goes, I think you need to lay down. So he's laid her down on one of these like beds next to me, right? And he's laid her down. Her feet are in the air. The doctor that's telling me my leg's about to be amputated is sitting there holding my wife's feet so she doesn't pass out. And he's just like, way to steal the center of attention, you know? Like, are you okay then? So she's like just trying to breathe and not vomit and not pass out. And I'm just there like, are you joking?
Are you kidding me right now?
Are you actually kidding me? Out of all the moments you choose right now to just like pass out. So yes, that's a moment that we will never forget, and I will never let her live down.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yes. So imagine just like a doctor telling you you're about to get your leg cut off whilst he's just like holding your wife's legs in the air.
I love the way your face lights up when you talk about it.
It's just the funniest moment. Like, because it should be the absolute like lowest point of my life, right? But it just like
humor attached.
Yeah, exactly. It's just how my life unfolds. It's just look at the bright side. There's always funny aspects to everything.
What did those first couple of weeks post surgery, the final surgery, look like for you emotionally?
It was tough
because you seemed pretty bright and happy on socials. Like, I'll admit, when I was following this along, I was following along of like, this chick's fucking admirable. This is the most empowering person I've come across in a very long time. Like, I'm motivated by you. Yeah. Like, I'm inspired by you, by the words you were using, your social posts at that time. What was really going on behind closed doors?
Yeah, look, it was tough. It definitely was tough. But I think because there was a week, right, where I sat with the news and I was processing as much as I could up until the actual operation. And I was trying to just educate myself as much as I could in that first week. And there just wasn't a lot that I could find. I was trying to find, people that were getting on with it and just like what life would look like with one leg. And there were bits and pieces, and there was a little bit from the US or in the UK, but there was nothing within Australia, nothing about like how like NDIS or just like what life looks like. It was just nothing. So I was, just trying to sort of navigate it as best as I could and try to prepare myself as much as I could, which was why I then decided to kind of document my journey, because I was like, I had learnt so much from all of these other people, but there was no one really within Australia that I could find. So I was like, you know what, even if just one person sees it, it'll just hopefully be a little bit of peace of mind. It can prepare them, which is what I was looking for and seeking within that week. So I think just trying to educate myself as much as I could and just sort of absorb as much knowledge kind of helped me frame my mindset a little bit. And I was seeing people that had one leg, and like granted they had maybe lost a leg like 5-10 years ago, but they were doing incredible things. They were playing sports still. Life kind of looked a little bit different, but it kind of went on. So
I feel like you did just get up and get on with it. Like you might have had those moments of hardship and challenging thoughts and things like that going on behind closed doors, obviously, but you really fucking just went, this ain't gonna stop me, I'm good to go. Like that's what it felt like from the outside perspective. Was that what you were trying to push out? Yeah,
and it kind of was a little bit like that as well. I think obviously being a parent, you don't really have the option to kind of just like sit and wallow, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of was a huge motivator. Like I was kind of mentioning before, like, yes, it impacted my life and having one leg impacted my life. But at the time I had a 2.5-year-old son. I didn't want his life to be impacted by it as well. I wanted his world to remain as normal as possible. And it was already hard enough for me to be completely removed from him. So my motivation to get out of hospital and was just to kick on with it. I needed to learn how to walk. I needed to learn how to shower and go to the toilet with one leg. Like I needed to learn all of these things to get home to be with my son again.
Yeah, to have that independence again for yourself as well.
Yeah.
Tell us what it was like when you took your son through potentially at his age. Like how did he process what was going on when you had to share that with him?
Yeah. I was quite nervous about him seeing me for the first time without my leg on. He only came to the hospital maybe 3 times when I was in there for nearly a month. So that in itself was quite difficult. He came once before I had my leg amputated. So before that, it just kind of looked like I had a broken leg. They just had plastered my normal leg. And I was quite anxious about it because he'd never really been to a hospital before. Obviously seeing his mum in her hospital, like I just wasn't sure how it was going to unfold. So I didn't want him to come into my room. I thought the best case would be for me to kind of be wheeled outside and we just kind of normal environment. Let's just normalize as much as we can. So did that. And honestly, the minute he just saw me, he had like a teddy bear under his arm. He just ran up to me, just absolutely could not have cared less that I had my leg in a cast, was in a wheelchair, like just couldn't care less, just climbed straight on top of me and just as if nothing was different.
Fuck, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. And it just was quite reassuring that like, you know what, kids are so adaptable and he's going to be okay and I'm going to be okay and this is just going to be our new normal from now on.
Yeah, and they like from that age, they don't know any difference. It's kind of like when a kid, when parents separate and things and they go through that transition.
Yeah.
Anything like, yes, there's imprint years 0 to 7, of course, we know that, and we know that kids can be impacted by divorce and things like that at that age. But there's also, you create a new norm with no trauma involved. The kid just thinks this is life. Cool.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
You know?
And to him now, obviously it hasn't been that long, but to him now it's completely normal. It's completely normal. We call it my robot leg. He knows that we call my stump Peggy. Like every morning he'll like say good morning to Peggy. Like it's just his new normal now. It's no so different. Cute. He's very protective of me as well when I pick him up from daycare, because obviously to all of the other kids it's quite unusual. So they're like, it sparks a lot of interest and they're all like, what happened to your leg? What is it? Blah, 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 blah. And he's quite protective. He'll like run over to me straight away and he'll cut on my leg and be like, this is my mama, it's her robot leg. So to him though, it's just normal now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. And what a journey to go through and have that the pivotal part of it being your concern for your son and how his life changed, and then for him to just be like, oh, cool, move along. Like,
for sure. He taught me a lesson that day that was just like, you know what, it just doesn't matter. It's normal. It's fine. Let's just get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's special. What do you feel like may have changed, and if it did, have there been any changes, I should ask it that way, with your relationship, with your body grief? Was it grief, shame, maybe pride? What has gone through the motions and the processing of that as things shifted for you personally?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did really struggle with it at first. I think I've always struggled with body image and whatnot anyway.
I think all women at any point we all have, and then that added layer for you.
And then let alone like losing one leg. I was quite – it's a bit of a tricky one, but I was quite anxious about it, right? I felt quite humiliated. And even now, like it obviously it's only been a couple of months, so it hasn't been a long time, but I'm very conscious around like who I let see my leg and just things like that. I'm still not completely comfortable with it, but also the thing that I probably was the most anxious about was how I was going to be able to mobilize, right? Like being able to move and whatnot. And obviously I've got my prosthetic leg now, but that took a little while to come. There was months where I didn't have anything. I was in a wheelchair. I had to kind of crawl on the floor. And I really struggled with that concept of having to maybe have to crawl or use my knees or just like do things a little bit differently. I felt it really humiliating. And that was such a huge thing for me to overcome because I was like, I don't want to have to crawl on the floor. Like I don't want to have to, put a wheelchair out the side of Parker's room to then get on my knees to read him a book at night. Like I don't want to have to do that. Yeah. So that was a huge thing for me to have to overcome. And it just was one of those like, you know what? It is what it is. Yeah. We just need to be thankful that I can still read him books at night, I can still, go from A to B. Yes, it looks different and it's not ideal and it's not how I want to be able to move, but I can still move. Yeah. And it's also quite ironic that this sport that I've chosen to now play is sitting volleyball where all you do is like you're on the floor learning how to move. And I think that's quite humbling for me because the one thing that I was the most embarrassed and sort of afraid of was moving on the floor. It's almost like your
unconscious went, cool, how can I change myself
exactly.
Here? Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So humbled me very quickly.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing such a powerful part of your story. I feel like you are someone that's just going to continue to make waves in your life. Like, I just don't think if this can't stop you, what the fuck will? Like, and you're just proving to everyone around you, especially your son, like it doesn't matter. Just keep moving. Like he taught you that lesson, and at one point in his little life, as he becomes a teenager or he has his first injury,
for sure,
he'll just have the mantra of like, okay, cool, broken leg for a bit. Oh no, hand for a bit. Cool, whatever.
For sure,
he'll just be able to push through anything with that level of resilience, and that is fucking so powerful.
Yeah,
so powerful, especially for him.
Yeah.
So, what drives you in the volleyball? Like what's the force for you to keep like learning a skill in fucking volleyball? Like for me, like as an adult. Yeah. How old are you? I'm in my 30s.
34.
Cool, 33. This month. 32 technically. I got another few weeks, guys. For me to learn a new fucking skill, like I decided to put my hand up to be a football coach this year because no one else would. I'm now the manager step down, thankfully, because I should not be coaching any football. But the anxiety that I brought to these poor children of like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to pass a football. I've got no idea how to throw it and spin it and kick it and dummy. I don't know the rules. Right. For me, that was so fucking overwhelming and it consumed me, the thought of that big change, and it was so scary. Yeah. You're going into a sport, you've said you like sports, then you were good at sport. Yeah. That scares me, going and playing a game of volleyball on a beach in public or with anyone at any point. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that process and how the fuck you've stayed driving towards doing that.
I think that like in terms of my mindset and whatnot, sport is just kind of one aspect of it. I think in just the way that I approach life is I always like to be learning and I like to just be doing.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I just can't.
Anything like that? Like is there?
I'm going to say probably like ADHD. Like I just can't sort of sit still. Like I like to be like I could have an idea. I've got 2 businesses. I could have an idea to start a new business and within 48 hours, like I've got it up and running. I've got the website built. I've got the business plan put together. I've got bank account. Like it's all done, right? So I just am this like 0 to 100 type person. Would you like
person. A job?
So either like I either am just not interested and I'm not doing it, or if I'm motivated by it, then I'm 100%, I'm all in, like I'm doing it. And I mean, I've always loved sport, and I think there's a few news articles that were written quite early on, and there's one that comes to mind. And literally at some point, I don't even remember saying this, but at some point I've obviously said to somebody that I'm going to be I want to be at the Paralympics. That's one of my goals. And it was literally like a week after my accident. I hadn't even had my leg amputated yet. And it's in the newspaper saying her goal is to now go to the Paralympics. So, cool. So yeah, even I don't even have any memory of saying that, but my, subconscious was there anyway. And that's kind of one of the motivators. I was like, you know what? Like, what can I do now that I've got one leg? Let's go to the Paralympics. Why not?
Yeah.
Something I wasn't able to do before. So let's make it happen. How can I make it happen?
I was brought up going to the Paralympics rather than the Olympics because my mum actually couldn't afford to do the Olympics. It was that little bit higher ticket cost.
For sure.
Especially for family passes and things like that. So I went to the Paralympics.
Yep.
And I fucking loved it so much. And
That's
I remember
great.
getting to be exposed to that. It was so empowering as a child.
Yeah.
And I was so motivated and inspired and driven by that. I've had Kurt Fernley on the podcast before. I remember seeing him at the Paralympics when I was a kid. And just what happens when life gives you lemons.
That's it.
And it's like, fuck, people just have this particular drive and go. And, I've had people in my life, family, not family, that I've crossed paths with over the last 15 years that play victimhood and fucking are just so sad and so miserable in their pathetic little lives. And I say that with love, like not being an asshole to those people in their lives, but it's like, fuck, when life gives you lemons, you just got to keep moving.
That's it.
Like
you've got two decisions, right? You can either wallow in it and just be stuck in it, or you can let it motivate you and just figure it out, keep moving forward, and just things might look a little bit different now, but that's okay. Let's just keep moving forward with it.
You've got the most empowering mindset that I've witnessed in a while from someone, which is really cool to admire from afar. But even just having you on the podcast today, it's really cool to just sit with you to hear it in person. I'm like, I got goosebumps when you were talking earlier and I was like, fuck, this is so inspiring. I fucking love it.
Thank you.
I love your attitude. I love the way you think. And I think that for someone who, parents, we all go through it with parenting. It's always hard. There's always heaviness. I had a girlfriend on just before you, Justice, who is a beautiful mum of four, who is in the thick of it with other things in parenting that she's going through right now. And we're sharing that. And, motherhood's motherhood. At the end of the day, we're all fucking in it. But it doesn't change how hard it gets. And when life gives you a lemon, make that damn lemonade, because you just have to keep moving, especially when there's kids around you, they're watching, their little sponges, and you've been able to do that so beautifully and gracefully, whilst I imagine you don't see it as gracefully. I've perceived it as gracefully, and I'm sure that people following along have perceived it that way too. Showing up and sharing your story because you couldn't find someone to relate to as well. Like for the next woman that's in this moment of time and going through what you went through and she finds you, how fucking special is that?
And I've already had so many people reach out and tell me that. Like, it's only been a couple of months, and honestly, the amount of people that have reached out to me through social media, through TikTok or Instagram, and just have shared their story with me and are like, having my leg amputated in a week or 2 weeks, and I'm so anxious about it. What can I expect? What advice can you give me? There's honestly been dozens of people that have reached out, or people that are also reached out being like, my girlfriend's about to have her leg amputated, and is there any advice that your wife can give me on how to process it, because I'm really struggling, and things like that. Which, I mean, I never had that because I never just couldn't find anyone, but that's why I did it.
What can they expect if that's where someone's at right now that's listening, or knows someone that is and passes on this episode?
So look, it's going to be a journey, right? There's going to be a lot of grief. You're losing a body part. Your whole world's about to change. You're going to be stuck in hospital for a long time. You have to learn how to re-walk again. There's a lot that comes into it. So just take it slow would be kind of my advice. Just that, you'll get there. And for me anyway, I wanted to get there so fast. I wanted to just get out of bed and let's get moving. Literally the day that I had my stitches taken out, I had my appointment like an hour later with the prosthetist. So I had my fresh stitches taken out, and I was going to try on legs and get measured and do all of that, because I wanted to let's get the ball on the road. Let's do it all. And in the moment, it felt like it was taking forever. I think my mindset, or my mind, was there a lot sooner than my body was. So just like, I am a very fast-paced type of person, so having to sit in a hospital bed and having to just recover and wait was a lesson for me in itself, to just slow down and just let it happen. Just be patient, because things will happen, not at your timeline, but when they're going to happen. So that was a huge thing for me to kind of to learn as well.
What advice has Steph been saying when people have asked that question around like being the partner of someone in that environment and circumstance? What's been her advice? Or what did you need from her that maybe you wish that you could have expressed further?
Yeah, look, I was really lucky because when I was in hospital, and I'm not sure how this sort of played out, but I was extremely lucky and very thankful that from the day that I was in hospital, Steph was able to stay with me the entire time. So I was in there for nearly a month, and every single day and every night she was by my side.
Perfect, yeah.
And I think that also like contributes to my mindset and whatnot, having that support person there as well. And she often jokes about it. She's obviously got quite a similar humor to me because a lot of the first couple of weeks, because I was quite heavy on pain medication and whatnot, it's all a bit of a blur to me. Like I'm talking, would see my cat would come and visit me of a night time in hospital, and like I was a bit out of it, a bit loopy, right?
Fair.
And she always jokes, which is kind of like quite bleak when you actually think about it, but she's like, you know what, you went through all of this and like, yes, you're the one that lost your leg, but you also did it with a lot of pain medication. She's like, I had to watch you do it all and go through it completely sober, like completely like just all there, very coherent. I have very vivid memories of everything. I just had to sit and watch and go through it all.
Yeah. Did you, and this might feel like a bit of an ignorant thing to say, so just bear with me on it, but I just had the thought of like we're in that season of Grey's Anatomy, which I mentioned before. Grey's Anatomy fan. Did you guys watch the season where Callie's wife, I fucking lost her name, the chirpy one, the one that rolled around on skates, like rollerblades and stuff, and she lost her leg, and Callie and her went through that process together, her wife.
Look, it's actually quite interesting you say that because I've never seen Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
But so many people comment on my Instagram and TikTok that like, you have Kelly and I can't remember the wife's name.
I cannot believe I've forgotten her name. Like, this is my heart and soul.
So many people like, this is giving like Kelly and
Well, in it, one of the scenes that I've never ever forgotten because I was bawling my eyes out watching it was like Arizona. That's her name. Arizona's like, you didn't lose it. You didn't lose the leg. This isn't about you. And she's like, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there with you. You don't understand what it's like to watch you go through it because Arizona had no memory of the surgeries and the things that happened throughout and blah, blah, blah. I think that's how it played out, guys. Sorry for any fans that don't come at me for the exact scene. Christ. But that's how I remember it. And it was such a pivotal scene and it was heartbreaking at the same time. And, you've just given me a bit of a flashback to that scene and it's true. Like, yes, your wife didn't lose the limb, but he was so in the thick of it with you.
For sure, yeah. And she carries her own trauma from the accident as well.
Oh, I bet she does.
Poor
thing.
So
grief as well. And
for sure. I'm a huge therapy person, so I'm a full believer in it. So we both were in therapy as soon as we could be. So I would highly recommend that to anyone that's going through trauma or anyone that's, sitting in the sidelines watching somebody or just
just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean it
doesn't mean
it,
exactly.
You don't have your own trauma about the event too.
For sure.
I mentioned earlier, touched on, I won't speak too much into it, my husband not being well a little while ago, and there's for me the sitting, and I'll speak on only my experience in this, sitting in an area at a hospital and being sat down and essentially being like, you might want to give some people a call to let them know like this is not good. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? What? How long is this going to take?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, nah, that'll piss him off. That'll just annoy him, like kind of thing. So anyway, it was, I know he doesn't like to be an inconvenience or to burden people with problems. And I was like, no, he'll be fine. It's just a cold. He's all right. And then it wasn't. All good now. He's totally fine. But yeah, just that experience on its own and like the waiting game and not having information, not having control, all of that.
Yeah, for sure. Not having control is a huge thing. Like everything's just out of your hands.
Not dismissing or devalidating, but
for sure
to also validate your beautiful partner Steph as well and her experience.
Yeah, for sure. And even like obviously her watching and going through all of this is a huge thing. But then also like going back to this happening 1 week after our wedding, right? When we were standing there saying our I do's, she didn't sign up to have a wife that has one leg and just like for this to be our future. And obviously at the time, neither of us knew this was in the cards. Yeah, so just, I think that was also a big thing. Obviously she's not going anywhere. Like she's, everything's fine. But just reshaping that mindset, because obviously when you get married you have sort of a vision and a picture of what you expect your future to look like and things you want. So just having to reshape that is also a bit of a challenge. So that was quite huge for her.
Yeah. Well, she's an amazing woman, and like, as are you, and you guys
Mm.
have obviously, what a foundation to build a marriage on. Like, what
sure.
fucking starting launch pad, essentially. It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
ain't nothing going to touch us now. We're good
That's
to go.
exactly it. We say that all the time. Anytime we have like a little argument or like something happens, we're like, you know what? We've survived the last 8 months. Like, we literally can get through anything. Like, this is what's happened. Straight after we got married, we're set. We're fine. Like, we're seeing this thing through. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself the day before, as you know, the version of you that you were the day before the accident? If you could say something, could give yourself just a little piece of advice, not something that's going to change the future.
Yeah.
But just
So
that
don't mow the lawn.
Yeah, don't mow the lawn. That's not what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
something where you feel like you could just strap yourself with that info or that quote or something that would just make you feel like, okay, that you'll just remember that moment.
Yeah.
Does that question even make sense? I went on a tangent, sorry.
No, it does. I don't know if my answers matches the question, but I would probably tell myself to go on a walk, like just enjoy having 2 legs for the day, and not take, obviously, just not take having 2 legs for granted, which is a huge thing to say. And we say it kind of all the time, just don't take things for granted. But like I still remember the 5-10 minutes before my accident. I remember like going into the garage and getting the mower out, and like those are the last memories I have of being able to walk.
Yeah.
Which is just wild to think about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that is crazy.
go on a big walk.
Oh, I love that so
Get
much.
out, do things.
Yeah, that is beautiful advice. Well, thank you, Meg, so much for coming on the show today. I'm so
Thank
grateful.
you for having me.
I've said it 100 times already, but I'm going to say it again. You just inspire me, and I admire your ability to be so positive and humorous and funny throughout all of these moments of times over the last 8 months. Like, you bring so much lightness to such a big thing, a big heavy thing. And for anyone that's currently going in it, to find you, like, I know that if this something happened to me, and to know that you were on the other side on social media, someone that I could relate to, it would bring so much lightness to my heavy load on my shoulders. So yeah, I'm just very grateful that you could come in and share your story today.
Thank you.